The fact of the matter is, it is Bible-believing creationists who gave us science as we know it today. A lot of people would be surprised to find out that the founders of almost every single branch of the sciences was a creationist. The greatest minds in science have always been those who understood the biblical account of life to be true and accurate. You don't believe me? Well, take a look for yourself, because the list we're about to display contains the names of the men who established the various disciplines of science that are practiced today. And every last one was a Bible-believing Christian. So I think you'd have to agree to say, as some naive people actually do today, that creationists and people who believe and trust in the Bible as the Word of God are somehow unscientific and uneducated is absurd, since it was the Bible-believing creationists who created science in the first place. That's what they'd like you to think. If you were left to the conclusions drawn by evolutionists, you would think that evolution was almost single-handedly responsible for all moral, intellectual, and scientific good that exists in the world today. But let's look at the rest of the story, as radio host Paul Harvey would say.
Karl Marx, an atheist and the originator of communism, was delighted to find a scientific rationale in the theory of evolution, which he claimed gave validation to his new philosophy. Marx admired Darwin, and the two communicated and corresponded. In appreciation, Marx even attempted to dedicate his greatest atheistic work, Das Kapital, to Darwin.
In the Bible, Romans chapter 1 warns us about the natural consequences of rejecting God, the Creator. It results in man becoming involved in wickedness and moral corruption.
If there is a moral governor in the universe, then each person in this universe is responsible to that moral governor. The easiest thing in man's mind to do is just to dismiss the possibility of that moral governorship.
Adolf Hitler used the Darwinian thesis of natural selection, the survival of the fittest, to weed out who he considered to be the inferior strand of humanity. He brutally tortured and killed 12 million people, 6 million Jews and 6 million non-Jews. In effect, we are doing the same thing today with abortion, euthanasia, and infanticide. Weeding out those whom we consider to be unwanted persons. Since 1973 in the USA alone, nearly 25 million unborn human beings were killed by abortion. That is one baby every 20 seconds.
Without world religions and governments advocating evolution's principles to prop up their own beliefs, secular humanism and communism would unravel at their very core. That's because each one is built on the premise that man is the captain of his own destiny, and that he doesn't need to answer to a world created by a creator God. Another impact the supposedly beneficial theory of evolution has had in recent times is the advancement of something Shirley MacLaine helped to make popular, the New Age movement. That's a complex network of all kinds of philosophies and political actions, but they all share the same basic goal of what they describe as global oneness, both physically and mystically. Once again, on the surface, anything that promotes unity seems to be a good thing, but it gets very bizarre very quickly. The New Age movement, using the same principles of evolution, just carries the principle out to its logical conclusion, which is to see the next phase of man's evolution to be the development into godhood. They see the human race as a transitional form between apes and God.
I think that man is evolving into a state of higher awareness, higher consciousness, higher vibration.
The truth is, evolution has inspired brutal, atheistic governments because it ignores or minimizes God as creator. With God out of the picture, evolution has left many people hopelessly searching for the real meaning to their lives.
We started this program over here in the jury box. We presented a lot of compelling information. But there actually comes a time in some trials where the evidence in favor of one side is so strong, so overwhelming, that the attorneys with the ironclad case ask the judge for what I'm now going to ask you for, a summary judgment. A summary judgment means that the judge agrees that your case is so compelling and your opponent's case so weak that the case is thrown out for lack of evidence. I ask you now for your summary judgment on the case of evolution. I petition your own judgment, your own conscience. Throw out the case of evolution. Surely, if ever a summary judgment was in order, it is this case.